destruction and misery are in their ways, and the way of peace they have not known. And now notice how the passage ends. It's described all of this wickedness, and then it says, there is no fear of God before their eyes. Why is it that you have all of this list of wickedness? Because people have no what? They have no fear of God before their eyes. Let me ask you then, do you think that the first angel's message is talking about the importance of being obedient to God and following what He says in His holy law? Absolutely. Now let's notice when the 10 Commandments were given, God said something very interesting to Israel a little bit later on. Notice what we find in Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verses 10 to 13. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verses 10 to 13. Here, Moses is reminiscing about what happened on Mount Horeb when God gave the law. Notice, especially concerning the day you stood before the Lord your God in Horeb, when the Lord said to me, gather the people to me, and I will let them hear my words, because God spoke the 10 Commandments, that they may learn to what? When God spoke the 10 Commandments, it was to teach Israel to do what? To fear Him. So it says, I will let them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days they live on the earth, and that they may teach their children. Is there anything in the 10 Commandments that teaches people to fear God? Are we supposed to teach our children the principles of the 10 Commandments? Absolutely. Notice verse 11. Then you came near and stood at the foot of the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire to the midst of heaven, with darkness, cloud, and thick darkness. And the Lord spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the sound of the words, but saw no form. You only heard a voice. So He declared to you His covenant, which He commanded you to perform, the 10 Commandments, and He wrote them on 2 tablets of stone. So notice that God gives the commandments, and He says to Israel, these commandments are going to teach you to fear Me, and you are to teach these commandments to your children so that your children will also fear Me. By the way, do you know that the fear of the Lord involves in our way of treating other people? It changes rather the way that we treat other people. It makes us loving and kind towards the weak and the less fortunate. By the way, the main principle behind the 10 Commandments is love. Isn't that right? Notice what we find in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 14, and then we're going to jump to verse 32. Notice how the fear of the Lord, when we have the fear of God in our hearts, it's going to affect the way that we treat our neighbor. And of course, the essence of God's law, the essence of the 10 Commandments is love. Notice, you shall not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind. And then what does it say? Shall fear your God. I am the Lord. Now notice verse 32. You shall rise before the gray-headed and honor the presence of an old man. And then it says, and fear your God. I am the Lord. Are you catching how the fear of God in our lives affects the way we treat other people? Notice Leviticus 25, and we'll read verse 17 and verse 36 and also verse 43. It says there, therefore you shall not oppress one another, but you shall fear your God. Notice that when we fear God, we don't oppress other people. For I am the Lord your God. Also, notice what He says, take no usury. You know what usury is?